Right now at noon, the latest on a deadly crash that happened overnight. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is William. My Aunt Janelle Burrell is on assignment. Welcome to CBS 3 Eyewitness News at Noon, now streaming live on CBS News Philly. Today is Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Uncle Jim is at the studio letter A at the CBS Broadcast Center, so he left me in charge. Let's kick off our news story with my favorite uncle, Matt Petrillo, live at Kensington. Good afternoon, Uncle Matt.
Crash, you can see what used to be a turnstile here is now boarded up after that turnstile was ripped from its frame, and a cell phone camera captured the immediate aftermath of the deadly crash. He jumped this joint right here and went straight into that joint, bro. Like 80 miles per hour. Bystanders are seen rushing to that SUV to help. The crash happened just after 2:45 this morning here in Kensington and Allegheny Avenues. Police in the area reported seeing that SUV traveling eastbound on Allegheny Avenue before crossing over Kensington, jumping the curb and striking a turnstile before finally stopping after crashing into the building. The driver, who is a man, was pronounced dead on scene along with two other people who were outside the station. A 53-year-old passenger of the SUV was transported to the hospital in stable condition. Take a listen to how one witness described the horrifying crash.
I was just standing across the street, and a guy came through the intersection doing about, I don't know, maybe 100 miles an hour or better. And I saw him hit the median, jump over the median, and crash into a wall.
Fortunately, this entire incident was captured on police real-time crime cameras. Several angles. You can clearly see the vehicle traveling eastbound on Allegheny Avenue, and it appears to be traveling at a very high rate of speed.
Eyewitness News also captured the SUV being towed away from the scene this morning. You can see a lot of the front end of it is just a mangled piece of metal. The impact of the crash caused severe damage to the building, but authorities tell us that the building is safe. The station here has reopened. We also want to bring your attention to what's happening on the other side of K&A here in Kensington. There was a large police presence to an unrelated incident that happened just moments before noon today. We're told this is a double shooting here in Kensington. A woman was shot in the chest. A man was shot as well. So a large response to this scene. We saw police just rushing to it moments before our new live shot here. We're working to bring you more information. We'll have the latest starting on Eyewitness News at 4.
Wow, that's two events turned into one. Thank you, Uncle Matt. We'll now go to additional breaking news. A 35-year-old man is dead after Philadelphia police say he was shot multiple shots in East Germantown. Chopper 3 is over alongside North Beechwood. Investigators are still searching for the suspect and a motive. Police are searching for a man who led officers on a chase from Northeast Philadelphia into Delaware County last night. Chopper 3 was over the action on Interstate 95 as sparks flew from the suspect's truck. He then got on to the 476 North, where he ditched the truck near the Villanova exit. He's still on the run. Police have not said what that man is wanted for. And happening right now, a big settlement of alleged police brutality happening in Camden County. They agreed to pay $10 million to settle a civil rights lawsuit by Xavier Ingram. He was paralyzed from the neck up during an arrest back in 2014. That arrest was made by Camden County Police. South Jersey reporter Brandon Goldner will have much more on that story on Eyewitness News at 4 o'clock, which I will not be doing. Investigation got underway in the mysterious death of American tourists in the Bahamas. Samples from the bodies of the nearby villas where they were staying at are now here in Philadelphia. That took place in about a week. Two couples in their 60s are still recuperated to this very day. Well, today an autopsy will be performed on a corrections officer who was running off with an escaped inmate from Alabama being accused of murder. With that being said, Fugitives were held in Evansville, Indiana. The U.S. Marshal's Office said Vicky White, the officer, died from a serious gunshot wound. Vicky White was only 38 years old, and that's very young right there. Funeral services will be held at a later date, plus a later time. Officials say the officer has no relation to Casey White. She did sell her home. That's what that is, folks. Now to the latest on the war in Ukraine on this Tuesday. Russia launched missiles by hitting the port city of Odessa. One civilian was killed. Meantime, Russia says it's making progress breaking through defenses in eastern Ukraine. However, here at home, the Biden administration is calling on Congress to pass additional efforts as soon as possible. The administration could delay the interruptions without anything happening to this very day. Senators quickly passed a local bill to expand security for families of justices of the Supreme Court located in Washington, D.C. It's all coming down to the Roe versus Wade incident, and it needs to stop right here, right now. Now let's get you over to our forecast. A live look at the skyline of Philadelphia. Sunny and breezy turned into one thing, but all I know is I'm going to enjoy this day and no complaints whatsoever. Larissa has her first check on the forecast. So take it away, Larissa.
Gusty winds, especially right along the shore, but take a look. Just about everyone is experiencing double-digit wind gusts, and that's going to hold true for the rest of the afternoon before these winds die down later on tonight. We take a look at peak wind gusts so far along I-95. We're ranging anywhere between 30 to almost 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but it's along the shore where winds have been consistent, ranging between 40 at times 45 miles an hour, and everywhere that you see purple, that is a wind advisory that will stick around until 8 p.m. tonight for wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. Certainly strong enough to knock a couple things over. Keep that in mind as you plan out your day. You may want to secure any outdoor furniture as the winds will continue to howl along the shore. Take a look at temperatures there as well. It was a cloudy start, and those clouds are still being stubborn to clear. Temps are sitting a little cooler compared to folks further inland. Notice how they're in the low to mid 60s, while many of us are sitting in the upper 60s, nearing 70. It's 68 degrees right here in Philadelphia. And as the afternoon presses on, we'll be at either side of 70, still sunny, bit breezy, and then those winds will eventually die down later.
That's some good advice to hear about the winds. Thank you, Larissa. Turning now to the Philadelphia 76ers on this Tuesday afternoon. It's game night, despite the fact that the Sixers will look for a key road win against the Miami Heat. Things did go so well as the Sixers missed my favorite player, Joel Embiid, and if the Sixers win that game, they can potentially clinch the series here in Philadelphia on Thursday, May 12th. Tip-off begins at 7:30 with pregame at 7. Stay with Eyewitness News for the continuing coverage on the Sixers by going to CBSPhilly.com and CBS News Philly too. Basketball legend and Philadelphia native Dawn Staley was in town this morning to offer some advice to other games with other coaches. She's currently a head coach for the Gamecocks of South Carolina. She explains that a person can be disciplined depending on what reaction and whatnot. Here's one word to describe Dawn Staley. She is a national treasure. No doubt about it. Staley was the keynote speaker at this year's Philadelphia Head Coaches Conference. That's the event going in its 6th year, taking place at Temple School of Sports, and so many others. Coming up on CBS 3 Eyewitness News at noon, an important deadline for people voting in the Pennsylvania primary. If you want your vote to count, you have to do it the right way. Plus, pain at the pump. We'll tell you why this news story is definitely going to be shocking and a little bit confusing, but not the least though. And a Mother's Day mix-up. We'll explain what that news story is all about when we